All right. Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to the Fine Roots. My name is Tian, and it's been quite some time since the last episode. Every time I come back to this episode, it almost feels like so much have changed. And it's only been like a few weeks, not that much. But every time I do come back, it's like a whole different person I'm talking from almost. And when I look back at some of the videos, it also feels like it's cringy in a way, because I know that I can do better, and I know that there's something to improve on. And by the end of the day, it all equals to growth. And today's episode is just about that growth and how things in life takes time. And I've come with peace with that. I used to kind of feel like, wanting to reach my goals and wanting to move to where I want to be as soon as possible. But then it made me realize that life doesn't work like that. Life works in its own rhythm, and I have to wait and kind of follow the rhythm. An example would be, if I were to plant a seed today, it's not going to grow tomorrow. It's going to take some time before the seed begins to sprout, become a seedling, and then become like a tiny little plant, and so on and so forth. And it doesn't matter whether or not I water it more, or sing to it, or do anything in this very moment in time. There's only so much I can do, and the rest is up to nature. Like I could water it, I have to trust that the micro or the organism in the soil would create an ecosystem for that plant to grow. And there's nothing much I can do from that. I have to trust the process, trust that it will grow. And the same thing goes with my life. There's only so much I can do, and the rest will follow. All I can ensure is that I do what I do with the best of intentions that I can, and don't stray too far away from that. As long as the intention is there, I feel like everything else will follow. And being real with who I am, and being real with what the growth is about. So going back to the example, is that the plant that I'm growing, let's say it is an apple tree. I have to be honest and be real that this is an apple tree. Like, I cannot lie and say that this is a cherry tree or what have you. It has to be what it is. I cannot lie about that. Even if I did, like, I'm the one that's going to be fooled. And I'm going to be the one that's going to be disappointed. Because if I know that it is an apple tree, and I plant it, and in my head I say, this is going to be the greatest cherry tree or lemon tree that there ever will be, I'm the one that's going to be disappointed, because when it grows up and becomes a lemon tree, and I get lemons, and I eat the lemons, and I say, wow, this is the greatest apples I ever tried. And I can be that guy, or just be honest and say, it's an apple tree. Even if it doesn't produce like the greatest apple. It's not tasty. It doesn't look good. Even then, being honest is crucial, because from that point on, I can say, this tree does not produce good apples. There's something here that I can improve on. What can I do? And that only happens if I'm honest with what I'm trying to grow. Like, let's say for myself, if I'm not honest with myself of where I'm at and like what I try to do, then I can't really grow honestly. I'm gonna grow in a way that it becomes like a facade, or it becomes like this image rather, and it's not really what I am. And so growing in that direction becomes almost delusional because not it's not the truth. And if I don't accept the truth for what it is, then it's going to be an illusion. So growth is really important when it comes to being honest with oneself, with myself, and accepting what I am and growing into that and embracing it with all that I have. So for example, if I was a bird, just a tiny little bird that sings on trees, I have to accept that I'm that tiny little bird that sings on trees. I cannot pretend that I'm an eagle. I can't pretend. Maybe I could pretend, but what happens is that I'll quickly realize that I'm not an eagle. Like imagine me trying to dive down, trying to catch my prey, and as I'm diving down to the water, a fox sees me. I don't have the speed of an eagle. So I dive down and I try to catch something, and all of a sudden I splash on top of the water and I get wet. My wings can't fly up in time, and a fox comes and eats me because I thought I was an eagle, and here I am. I'm getting eaten because I thought I'm this apex predator. And so the same thing goes with life. If I'm not honest with what I am, and I go out there in the world and portray some sort of image, it'll quickly be, or I'll be quickly, I'm going to be shut down very fast, to put it that way. Because I cannot hold it up. Like let's say like I'm not a violent guy, and I go out there, I try to be violent, they're gonna eat me up. I'm gonna get eaten. I'm cooked, as they say. So be honest with what that growth is, and going into that, embodying what you are and going fully into that. And honestly, it is the coolest thing to be you, because there's only one of you, and there's no more than that. Like if you know about the supply and demand, the laws of supply and demand is that if the lower the supply, the higher the demand. And me and you are a perfect example of that. There's only one supply. And the demand comes when you become the supply. So if I become me, purely me and no one else, then the demand will be high, because people will realize that, whoa, there's only one of this guy, and there's one of you, and there's one of all of us. But that's only if we embrace it. If we don't embrace it, we're trying to blend in, and we're trying to be like everyone else, be one amongst the supply chain, if you will. And there's no fun in that. What's the fun about being a part of the crowd? Let's say like everyone is wearing the same thing and you do that too. You act the same, you're trying to be the same, trying to fit into the crowd. Well, welcome to the supply chain. Welcome to Walmart. That's kidding. But that's the example is like if there's a product that's made 10 million times, the value of that is going to be very different than if there's a product that's only been made once in this whole lifetime. But guess what? You're that. We're all that. Only if we want to become it. And it might sound far-fetched to become that or become you, but really it isn't. The hardest part is just to accept it. Because I feel like a lot of times in society kind of teaches us to be a certain way. There are certain things that are accepted, right? There's like the extrovert, introvert, and you're weird for doing this, you're weird for doing that, and trying to put us into a box, you know? Or at least categorize certain things. But what that looks like is almost like putting all the plants and trees into one biome. Like imagine if you put like an apple tree on top of a mountain, a cactus on top of a mountain, succulents on top of a mountain, and you have those, all the berries, trees, bushes, pine, everything into one biome. What a weird mountain that would look like, huh? It would look so odd and so off. Well, imagine a desert. All of a sudden you see a pine tree with snow on it. It'd be so weird. It'd be so out of place. Everything has its place. And essentially, that goes back to me, you, and everyone else. We all have our own place. But first we have to become it. Take up space. Become that. And you create your own little space in this world. Even if it is this tiny little corner where nobody knows, it's still your space and still you being you. And not just trying to blend in and trying to be a part of the crowd. But hey, if you feel comfortable in the crowd, so be it, you know. Every shepherd needs sheeps. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's fishes in the sea that goes in the crowds as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But they're being honest with what they are. If you are part of the herd, then you're part of the herd. So be it. You know, if you're part of the fish that swims in flocks, there's a reason for that. They do it to defend themselves against predator. And they embody it. They are that. And if that is you, then so be it. You know, there's nothing wrong or right. The only time there is wrong is if you are something, or if you do something that you aren't. Like if that, let's say, a sheep amongst a herd pretends to be a bear. Now that's off. Or if that fish that swims in flocks pretends like it's a predator. Now that's also off. That ain't right. So, growth, I'll sum it up. We go back to growth. The theme of today is essentially growth and growing into, over time, becoming what you are and embodying that, growing into that, and growing honestly. Because if you don't grow honestly, then it becomes an illusion, and what you are becomes covered up with whatever illusion you decide to put on, like a mask. And it's really sad to see that happen. Like imagine a bear putting on a mask of being a dog. You know, deep inside it's like this bear, apex predator, but instead it thinks it's a dog. Or an eagle that thinks it's a chicken or a rooster. Let's say it grows up amongst chickens, and it believes that it is a chicken, but truly is meant to soar in the sky. And the same thing goes with the potential of everyone else, or everyone in this world, is me and you, whoever. There is that potential to become you, be you, embrace you, and not to exist behind a mask. And when you get to your deathbed and you realize that you live a life of a lie, it wasn't your life, it was a life that people told you to live. You acquired things and goals that you were believed to be the goals. It was never your goal. You wanted to see this part of the world, and you never got to go there because it's not important, right? The world tells you otherwise. And there you are, on your deathbed, thinking what it would be like to go there. What it would be like to just do the things that you always wondered. And what it would be like to just live that life. But it's too late at that point. It's too late for the eagle to realize that it is an eagle when it's tied up like a chicken and is deemed to be defective because it doesn't lay eggs like chickens. And so they butcher the eagle. And it lives a life of lost potential. But if you made it to this point, there's something inside of you that tells you otherwise. And you do realize that there's something more to you than just you. Perhaps there's something deep inside that is waiting to be awakened. Let this be the call. Let this be the sign that you're looking for. Let this be it. Let this be the one thing that you've been waiting for to move you. To not let that potential go to waste. With that being said, welcome to the Fine Roots, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.